Today, I'm thinking about it. We're honored to have Jill Strutton. She's the Houston Baptist University Human Resources Director. And she's had 24 years in human resource experience in employee relations, recruitment, training, compensation, and benefits. And what a great addition she's been to our HBU team. Welcome, Jill.
Thank you so much.
So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, in, as well as being the HR director, I'm also a mom. I have two kids. My oldest is a 20-year-old junior at University of Texas at San Antonio. He's studying kinesiology and wants to be a physical therapist. My youngest is a senior at Ridgepoint High School, which is in Missouri City. I'm also married. My husband's an assistant principal at Quail Valley, which is also in Fort Bend school system. So got a little group at home as well as my big group at the university.
That's really cool. It's and you came to HBU in 2020. Can you tell us how you got here?
Yeah, I actually was working for the past 7 years at UT Health, which is the University of Texas Health Science Center in Houston. It's actually a university that's dedicated to the medical school, dental school, School of Public Health, and the School of Nursing for the University of Texas, but it's located in Houston. And I had been there for the prior 7 years, and I had been 6 of those years as a director. So for me, it was just really kind of time to make a change. And I decided we were in a position where I was lucky enough to be able to kind of take the step out and take a leap of faith and see what else was out there. And I decided to go ahead and do that and see where it would bring me.
Well, it's neat that you're at HBU, and it's a great environment at HBU, the Christian University. Tell us what that transition's been like coming into this kind of family of faith, albeit in an educational Division I university.
Yeah, I feel like those are great words to describe it. It really has felt like a family. People have been incredibly welcoming. My team is wonderful. I couldn't ask for a group of individuals to work with. The senior leadership team has been fabulous to me as well. And just every day, the people that I meet and interact with are all very kind, very generous, very helpful in giving me new information. Everyone's very kind about the fact that I'm new. And so they go out of their way to help me understand and learn the processes and learn the HBU way. So that's all been very, very welcoming, and I'm super grateful.
An HR department's important, and of course, I know who you are, and many people do, but there's some people who don't, and they probably know your name, but it's neat to learn the background of a person, because I often think of the word family. After doing about 140 podcasts, you get an idea of the wide variety of people at HBU. But if I've heard one word reiterated more often than any other as people have described HBU, it's been the word family. And so remind us why it's important to know what an HR department is, what it is as a resource, etc.
Well, I would tell you that while we are not directly taking care of the students, and we are not student facing, and we're not the ones who are responsible for the education of the students, we feel like our role is very critical in that we are the ones taking care of everyone who is taking care of the students. And that's how we see ourselves. We are here to make sure that it's easy for the staff and the faculty to take care of the students and to provide the great teaching opportunities and the great learning that goes on every day at the university. So when employees and when faculty come to us and are having any sort of challenge or difficulty, or have any sort of anything that they need help with regarding their either their benefits or any sort of challenge related to recruitment of staff, we're behind the scenes to try to make sure that their life is as easy as possible so that they can focus on their job, which is, of course, taking care of the students. So we're definitely the behind the scenes folks trying to make sure that everything that goes off academically is going off without a hitch.
And I guess it would be impossible to talk about HR without talking about the resiliency necessary in a COVID year. Um, you know, for some of us who've been around the pike a while, we've understood, you know, challenges are a part of life. You know, you kind of roll with it. And, but, you know, that's not always the case for everyone. I've always had kind of a little entrepreneurial bent to me. So I'm used to change and probably have pretty good shock absorbers. But there is, it is important in a COVID year. Tell me what your takeaway has been in the challenges of COVID.
Well, I can tell you that people here are very resilient. We really were able to move on a dime when we needed to and take everything that was going on at the campus and really almost, it felt like almost overnight, move it home, move it into our home offices and take without losing any productivity our situations into a new environment, a new work environment that was home-based, where we're facing a lot of things that we don't normally, that we're used to normally having available to us, our printers, our scanners, all of those fun technology things that we take for granted until we don't have them. And this university was able to just make almost a seamless transition to working from home for most staff. Not all staff were able to do that, of course, but for those folks who didn't, we have a big thank you for them because they essentially stayed on and worked in this environment and to keep our school where it needed to be. But this group was amazing to me that they were able to move and shift as quickly as they did, and really I think that we didn't miss a step. So I've been completely impressed with the ability of everybody here to make that flip.
And also, I mean, as I look at organizations, an HR department is extremely important because you have to understand what your job entails. I mean, uh, instead of having an entitlement attitude, I mean, a job requires performance. It requires responsibility. It requires hopefully honoring your employer and doing your very best. Um, you have obviously been in this space a long time. If you were talking to a group of people and gave the cliff notes of the 6 most important um, aspects of HR, what would they be?
I would definitely say that it has to do with a work ethic, having being true to the work that you're responsible for and being accountable. I believe collaboration is critical, collaboration and teamwork, integrity in everything we do. What am I on now? 3. um, I believe that it's incredibly critical to have strong communication skills. Think it's very critical too that people have, I said collaboration, communication. You're going to hold me to all 6?
No, not all 6.
Those are the big ones that I would say. Those are
Yeah.
the things that I see as being really incredibly important for our employees, because with those, you're able to work within your team, you're able to work within the greater university setting, and you're able to do your job and to have a little bit of your own individualism and to be able to perform your job within your own space and be productive.
And it is about being a team player. You know, prima donna is not a team player.
Mm-hmm.
And when you think about any organization that's succeeding, and when you add the mission of HBU, which is to take that Christian worldview and to integrate it into any academic discipline. I just finished with Steve Maniaci, and obviously we have athletics, but we have these coaches that do a dynamic job of spiritually mentoring men and women in 17 Division I sports. You don't get that at every university. But when you have an opportunity of COVID or any challenge that comes, because we know for certain challenges are going to hit us in life, we have the opportunity to either demonstrate teamship or go solo or go rogue. And
Right.
and I've often found that people who go rogue either are driving an agenda or they're not willing to communicate clearly. Doesn't the HR office allow that opportunity to understand what the procedures are and figure out if you're on the team or not, and to get help when you have those question marks?
Absolutely. That's what we really try to be available for leaders and for employees to come to us when there are questions about that. We have the employee handbook, and it gives a lot of good guidance on what the rules are and what the expectations are. But there are just going to be gray areas. There always will be.
Sure.
And there'll be unique situations that employees face and leaders face with employees. And one big thing our office is available to do is to provide guidance and to say, let's sit down and talk about that challenge, and let's figure out how we can work through this problem and come to the best solution possible. So that's something that we take very seriously. That's something I have a lot of passion for personally. It's something I really enjoy, is being able to solve a problem. That's kind of the way I see it. It's sort of putting a puzzle together and trying to find the best win-win outcomes for both an employee and the supervisor, and figure out how we can come to a good end place.
What help me understand? I mean, of all the different careers, what drew you to HR? Because I know HR is not always a cakewalk. I'm sure there's challenges. That some days you go home and it's like sometimes when I watch these police shows, I think, wow, how do these folks turn it off when they go home? It
Yeah.
seems like a high stress environment.
It's funny you should ask that. We sat around a leadership table in my former employer, and we asked each other how many people started off wanting to be in HR, and absolutely the answer was no one. Everyone landed in HR some way, somehow, and my story is no different. I started off out of college and ended up starting as a temp in a human resources office. And my job was primarily workers' comp at the time and benefits, but I found that I really was engaged by it. I was engaged by getting to talk to the employees about their benefits, and getting to help injured workers, and really the whole interaction with people and being able to help them solve their problems and being able to see a difference in the work that I did really kind of drew me in. And so from there, it's kind of blossomed. It just continues to be an opportunity to put one foot in front of the other and see where there's an opportunity to provide a solution or to work with a team that's providing a solution for the university, and to be able to step in and do that kind of work. And that to me has just become my favorite thing to do. I can't imagine doing anything else.
That's really cool. Having been a senior leader in an organization, I just have a natural empathy toward the leadership, because I think often people that, are not in the president's office or in the executive council office or whatever the nomenclature is for an organization, they forget that may seem prestigious, but those jobs carry a tremendous amount of challenge and a tremendous amount of decision, and so when we understand that through unity and harmony, it's much like a family, as you know. I mean, I've been married 41 years and I have 3 children and 9 grandchildren. when you're on the same team together, and when you can agree sometimes to respectfully disagree, and yet maintaining respect for one another, and it's always best if there's a problem to speak to a person instead of around a person. It's amazing how you heal a situation, and it makes a person feel better themselves.
I agree with you. I couldn't agree with you more. There, there's just got to be that ability, there's got to be that courage, which I think is a word that I tend to use a lot when I'm talking to leaders and employees as well. It takes a lot of courage sometimes to confront a situation that is troubling. It's having conversations when you have a difficult employee situation. Let's say one as easy as even an employee who's chronically late. That situation isn't very complex. However, people by nature tend to be, most people tend to not prefer confrontation
Right.
when given the choice. And so I'll say to my leaders, it takes courage to face the situation and to address it. But that is something you're charged with here at the university. And so that is something that you're going to need to dig down deep in and, search your heart, find what God would want for you and think about what, find courage within Him and take that next step because it's the right thing to do. It is talking to the person, it's giving them an opportunity to hear from you before any sort of next steps that are more dramatic have to take place. But it does take courage to do that. And so I remind my leaders that a lot. And I'm empathetic because even when I've had to have conversations with my employees, I understand, even though I can tell people to do it all day, it's not fun.
Yeah.
Not fun at all. And I'm the first one to know that, and I'm the first one to admit it. And so I certainly can appreciate that it does take a lot of courage to do it.
Well, Jill, we are thrilled to have you on the HBU team, and you have been such a beautiful addition, and we're excited. I mean, my goodness, cutting your teeth during COVID, it's all downhill from here.
I figured this has been a fun challenge that wasn't mentioned in the interview. It was sort of left as kind of a fun surprise.
That's right. Well, and
Yeah.
for those of us that are Christians, we believe in Romans 8:28 that God causes all things to work together for good to those who love God, huh?
Amen.
So now, just before we sign off, how do people, if they have questions, connect with the HR office? Just any of our team that may not know.
Well, my email is jstrutton@hbu.edu, and I tend to do really well with email. My phone rings a lot, and so it's helpful sometimes to email me to get a quicker response. But my number is the 649-3321, and I'm more than happy to talk to everybody. Sandra Zambrana, who is our benefits coordinator, is currently on leave. So she is somebody who's not available. Denise Roman is available, however, and then Lindsay Herrera in payroll is also available. So feel free to reach out to any of us, and we're more than happy to help in any way we can.
Well, we're excited, Jill, about you being here. We wish God's best on your family, and we're excited about the blessings that are coming to HBU in the days ahead.
Thank you so much. I couldn't be happier to be here.
And you're a part of that blessing. So have a great day, and thank you for joining us on Think About It.